Greetings, ladies and mentions, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Humans vs. Censorship, written by Random 3X. Grox looked out of his window at the streets of the city below. He could see the people of this multi-species metropolis going about their daily lives. However, he would be the one that would free them. He was part of a freedom movement that desired nothing more than the freedom to say what they wanted without repercussion. The Council's word hunters found another one of our gathering halls, brother, one of his movement's members declared, looking solemn. Grax bared his fangs in frustration. Damn Gluktars! They will continue to ban more words until they are nothing more than one whole rather than a collective of individuals. Brother Grox, mayhaps we can ask our newest member, the Loftalian suggested, gesturing to a perplexed-looking figure sitting in the corner of the room nervously holding a cup of tea. The human, Grox asked, tilting his head. What would a human know of our struggles? We never know, brother, until we ask. I have heard humanity has many languages. It won't matter. Raising his hand to get their attention, the human gave a little wave. Can I go, then? Letting out an exhausted sigh, Grox turned to the human. You may. I doubt a human will know how to get around the banning of words. Wait. You don't have the freedom of speech? Freedom of... Grox trailed off, shocked at the human knowing the wish of many of the city. What do you know of our dream? Well, that is the basic right. Do you really censor specific words? Yes, Grox answered, shaking his head melancholically. And you don't have other ways of saying these things? Pardon? Well, there are more ways to say things than just a specific word. The human recoiled as the second he finished speaking, Grox rushed up to him. Explain, Grox demanded excitedly. Well, like the word dead. The human paused in surprise at the sight of many of the members in the group recording. Oh, one of the banned words, one of the members gasped. And he said it so openly, another said in a hushed whisper. Wait, they banned the word dead? The human asked, looking even more confused. Indeed, it is a forbidden word, Grox replied, nodding while ignoring the other members. Well, okay, that seems a bit excessive. It is to protect people's emotional well-being, or so the Council says. Well, we humans have many ways of saying it without using the word, like pushing up daisies or gone to a better place. And these phrases mean dead? Grox asked, barely able to believe his ears. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, even my race sometimes finds a word uncomfortable, so we use language to say it in a different way. Do other races not do that? Grox shook his head. No, human. Words are used for their exact meaning. Maybe a human way could be the way to get around these censors. But, brother, what if they banned those phrases? Turning back to the humans, Grox locked eyes with him. Human, has this happened in your world? Banning stuff? Well, yeah, obviously. But language for my race, at the very least, is fluid. Censorship never lasts long. We can just wave our language around it. Euphemism, metaphor, or clever usage of other words are bread and butter. They are food stuff? Asked Grox, confused. No, it's a way of saying something is very easy or commonplace. Wow. I'm now kind of worried I've opened Pandora's box explaining this to you. I welcome the newest brother in the Freedom of Speech Army, Grox jeered quickly, followed by the rest of the members. Okay, but I really just meant to go to the barber's next door and, The human's protest was drowned out by the uproarious cheers of the movement he seemed to have accidentally joined. End of story. Story number 2. Unknowns, written by Divided Thought. We were clueless when they first passed through our home system. What with us having barely invented a telescope? Their warships were mistaken for asteroids adrift in the void, tiny, sparkling gems dancing between the stars. The second time they entered our system, we thought it was a show of force, immense explosions at the periphery of our primitive sensor range. We only realized that it was a military action and not some strange cosmic happenstance from a few stray radio signals we detected and spent decades decoding. The few words that we were able to translate boiled down to, "That should show them." By the third incursion, we had reached our moons. We saw them. We thought they didn't see us, assumed our habitats on the moons were buried deep enough and they disguised well enough. They passed by without a word. Thousands of Titans made of titanium and tungsten and steel, using methods we couldn't fathom, traveling towards a goal that we were ignorant of. We managed to detect their ships entering the system, not soon enough to react to them, but we detected them. Quite the feat at our tech level, from what I understand. It was on the fourth incursion when contact occurred. An exploratory ship, the Iskira, around Navius was collecting data for a new colonization site when it happened. Thousands of massive pings on the long-range sensors consistent with what we had detected last time. The crew were ordered to minimize their signature and hide amongst the rings of Navius. It did not matter. The fleet passed through the rings, harvesting some resources. One of the ships dispatched a smaller craft, a single light fighter, which stopped a kilometer away from the Iskira, watching it. It took some scans, and the Iskira did the same. Tense hours passed. Then the behemoth left the ring, and the fighter returned to its berth. A small beacon was left behind, a cylinder no larger than a drinking glass that gave off enough of a signal for us to notice. The Iskira retrieved it, and what it contained set our scientific communities on fire with the desire to know more. Our military, on the other appendage, was scared shitless that they had already translated our language. The capsule contained the instructions on how to build a planetary shield generator in our language. Alongside those were instructions on how to find and refine materials that we had not yet discovered in order to accomplish this. We didn't know if it was a gift, a warning, or a threat, but we built them anyhow. The pre-calculated requirements for every inhabited body in our system destroyed the idea that we could hide from them. Over the next decade, we waited, anticipating their return with equal amounts of hope and fear. Then the Aranti arrived. Fortunately for us, our autonomous transport drones were the only things traveling between planets. Central Command's detection maps lit up like a newborn sun as hundreds of thousands of biomechanical ships exited warp on the edge of a system, burning for the planets we inhabited. It was as if the apocalypse had arrived. The shield generators screamed to life. The purple-tinted fields of physics phenomena we had yet to fully understand, flaring brightly as we locked ourselves behind them, hoping that they would be enough. In our panic, we failed to notice the massive pulse of energy blasted in one direction from a low orbit around our star. A signal, a beacon, calling out to those who left it there that the shields were activated and under attack. We thought we were alone in this fight. As it turns out, we were wrong. The sensors lit up once more, not with the strange signatures of these new invaders, but with the telltale characteristics of the old. A message was received. Do not despair. Help has arrived. Above our skies, lights bloomed amongst the invading fleet as weapons with the potential to level continents detonated. Beams of energy we couldn't comprehend launched out from the invaders only to bounce harmlessly off the lavender-hued shields to dissipate in the void between the stars. Gargantuan amalgamations of flesh and metal were cleaved in two by projectiles traveling at a high fraction of the speed of light. For 5 days our skies became a kaleidoscope of chaos and fury as the battle raged on. We could do nothing but stare in awe of the sheer display of power occurring amidst the black. It was as if the very gods of old were clashing in the heavens. We watched as the invaders dug in on the fourth moon of our homeworld, 3 of their motherships tunneling deep beneath its rocky surface and projecting a shield of their own in defiance of the slaughter above. It did not help them. We watched with equal amounts of horror and amazement as the largest of the ships helping us unfolded like some giant cosmic flower, visible to the naked eye from the surface of our homeworld. A glow emerged within its immense petals and built in brilliance until we could no longer look at it directly. A lance of pure silver light streaked from what we now know was the Hades-class exterminator, a weapon capable of erasing entire stars from existence in the blink of an eye. The tendril of pure destruction crept across the sky, slowly from our vantage point, but it crossed the abyss between its origin and its target in a mere 30 seconds. When it struck, it left a glowing wound on the surface. Then it was shown the definition of overwhelming force. Irium detonated, unable to contain the impossible energies that had been violently injected into its core. Fragments of moon larger than even the ships overhead crashed into the planetary shields, only to be vaporized into the most basic elements. Our Savior's ships went to work, obliterating any of the debris that would have come back to haunt us decades in the future, when their orbits around our star would have brought them back home. 2 days later, the fight was over. Billions of tons of wreckage now meandered through space, posing a hazard to our ships. Our Saviors were not unbloodied, but they were the only ones still alive. The shields were turned off, and the Issachira was launched carrying our top diplomats, politicians, scientists, and generals. We waited, terrified of what would happen next, as we knew that nothing would be the same again. Hours passed. Many of our Savior's ships moved to orbit Navius to restock from the abundance of her rings. Eventually, the Iskara returned, carrying envoys from our mysterious saviors. Every eye was glued to the broadcast as 2 armed beings stepped off the ship alongside our leaders. A podium was brought, and after a declaration that the immediate threat was over, and that our saviors were here to stay until we could defend ourselves, the 2 aliens stepped up to the microphone. After that, it felt like eons before they spoke in flawless Zerigan. Greetings to the entire Zeraji race. We are representatives of the United Terran Republic, a spacefaring alliance of hundreds of species gathered with the goal of ensuring no race is extinguished before their time or exploited by our less hospitable neighbors. To you we come in peace, in the hope that you may join us after all these years you spent watching our ships drift by. We didn't contact you prior to this to prevent the Arenti from finding you sooner. We gave you the shield technologies to hold them off when they inevitably detected your advancements. We left a beacon so that we could help when they arrived. We welcome you with open arms and hearts to our galactic community. You owe us nothing for our help, as we were helped ages ago by a dying race. We too send our ships. To you the stars are no longer out of reach. Again, welcome. Among our stars you are amongst friends. Translator's note. Excerpt from First Contact, the historian's account by R. Aronmek Isnoctian, head historian of the Zeraji Archivists Guild. End of story. I would like to thank the T5 peeps, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Bushmaster 177, Leslie 517, Red Panda 121, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Lightjock, Dragzoon WRE, Lord Azrakal, Severin Cerberus, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.